What would you do if the system you built to measure everyone else's worth was suddenly used to measure yours and you came up short? This is Lauren Sterling's story, and before you dismiss her as just another corporate villain, ask yourself, have you ever reduced someone to their productivity, judged their value by what they produce instead of who they are? Because Lauren built her entire career on one ruthless belief: efficiency above everything. And she was brilliant at it, until the day her own razor-sharp metrics cut her down. Lauren Sterling stood before the executive board of Patterson Industries, her presentation crisp as her tailored Armani suit. At 32, she commanded $400,000 a year as a senior consultant at Apex Optimization Group. Her specialty, finding the fat. "Your customer service department," Lauren said, advancing her slide with practiced precision, "employs 47 people. My analysis shows 23 positions have an ROI below acceptable thresholds. Their productivity metrics haven't improved in 6 quarters." The CFO leaned forward. 23 people. That's half the department. "That's half the problem," Lauren corrected smoothly. "Keep your top performers, eliminate redundancy, and your overhead drops by $1.8 million annually, while actually improving service response times through automation." The executives exchanged glances. Numbers didn't lie. "You're certain about this?" the CEO asked. "I don't present uncertainties. I present solutions. 90-day implementation, guaranteed results, or you don't pay my firm's final invoice." She'd made this pitch 17 times in 3 years. She'd been right every single time. That evening, Lauren sat in her downtown apartment, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, modern furniture that cost more than most people's cars. Her phone buzzed. Text from her boss at Apex. "Patterson signed. $2.3 million contract. You're unstoppable. Partner track by 35. Lauren allowed herself a rare smile. She'd worked 80-hour weeks to get here. Full scholarship to Wharton, top of her class, recruited by 3 firms before graduation. While her classmates worried about finding meaning, Lauren had found something better: measurable success. She opened her personal spreadsheet. Yes, she tracked her own KPIs. Income up 340% since starting at Apex. Net worth $1.2 million at age 32. Career trajectory, partner in 3 years, maybe VP by 40. At 5:45 a.m., Lauren finished her morning run, exactly 5.2 miles, 38 minutes, heart rate optimal. She'd optimized her own life with the same precision she brought to corporations. No inefficient relationships, no time-wasting hobbies, no emotional clutter. Her philosophy was simple, and she'd stated it clearly during her last performance review. Every resource must justify its existence. People, positions, processes. If you can't measure the value, it doesn't have value. The words had earned her a standing ovation from Apex's leadership team. They'd also earned her something else she didn't know about yet: a target on her back. Lauren's voicemail box filled up after each project. Angry voices, tearful pleas, desperate questions. "You destroyed my family. 23 years at this company, and you decided I'm worthless in 20 minutes? She never listened past the first few seconds. Block, delete, move on. 3 months later, Lauren closed her biggest deal yet: restructuring initiative for a Fortune 500 company. 400 positions eliminated. $19 million saved annually. Apex threw her a celebration dinner. Her boss, Richard, raised his glass. "To Lauren Sterling, the future of corporate optimization. Nobody does it better." The partners applauded. Lauren felt invincible. 2 weeks later, her phone buzzed during morning coffee. Subject: meeting request, HR, urgent. Jennifer from HR smiled, but it was the wrong kind of smile. Too tight, too practiced. "Lauren, please sit down. Is this about the Dennison contract? I can have projections ready by..." "Lauren." Jennifer's voice was gentle, practiced. "Apex is restructuring. We're implementing new efficiency protocols across all departments." The words hit like ice water. "What does that mean?" Jennifer slid a folder across the desk. Your position is being eliminated. The consulting division is moving to a project-based contractor model. 90% lower overhead, more agile response to market demands. Lauren stared at the letter. Severance package. Career counseling services. Effective in 30 days. Her own recommendations. Her own words. Her own metrics. You're using my methodology to fire me? Jennifer nodded. Your work was excellent, Lauren. This decision is purely about efficiency and resource optimization. I'm sure you understand. These are the standards you helped us establish. Lauren walked out of Apex carrying a banker's box with 3 years of her life inside. Her hands shook so badly she nearly dropped it getting into her Audi. Her phone rang. Richard, her former boss. Lauren, I'm sorry. The board made the call. Nothing personal. Nothing personal? Her voice cracked. I built this division. I brought in $40 million in contracts. And we're grateful. Your methods will continue to guide us. We just don't need full-time consultants anymore to execute them. He paused. Then, in a tone that felt rehearsed, every resource must justify its existence, right? You taught us that. The line went dead. Lauren sent 127 job applications in 6 weeks. She got 3 interviews. At the first one, the recruiter's face changed when she saw the name on the resume. You're that Lauren Sterling? The one from Apex? I prefer to focus on my track record of, we've had 4 candidates in the past year who were laid off because of your recommendations. I don't think you're a cultural fit. The interview lasted 8 more minutes out of courtesy. 8 months after her termination, Lauren's luxury apartment had become a prison. Rent, $4,200 a month. Savings account, $11,000 remaining. Job offers, 0. She'd stopped answering calls from former colleagues, stopped going to her gym, couldn't afford the membership anyway, stopped pretending she was taking time to explore opportunities. The truth was simpler and more terrifying. Nobody wanted her. Late one night, she Googled her own name. The results made her stomach drop. The layoff lady, inside Lauren Sterling's corporate body count. Where is she now, the consultant who destroyed 2,000 careers? Reddit threads, LinkedIn whisper networks, anonymous blog posts detailing every project she'd worked on, every person she'd eliminated, every family her optimizations had impacted. She'd become infamous. The eviction notice came on a Tuesday. Lauren sat on her apartment floor. The expensive hardwood that had once felt like achievement now felt cold and indifferent. 30 days to vacate. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered out of desperation. Lauren Sterling? Yes? This is Brad Morrison. You got me fired from Patterson Industries. Lost my house. Wife left me. Just wanted to say thanks for ruining my life. The line went dead before she could respond. Her final interview was at a small consulting firm in the suburbs. The owner, a woman in her 50s, looked at Lauren's resume with unconcealed disdain. You have an impressive track record of efficiency. Thank you. I believe in, let me be direct, Miss Sterling. I know who you are. I know what you did to those people, and I know you think it was all just business. She made air quotes with obvious contempt. But here's what you don't understand. Business is personal. Every member on your spreadsheets was a human being with a mortgage, kids in school, elderly parents to care for. You treated people like they were disposable, and now you're discovering what that feels like. She stood up. This interview is over. I wouldn't hire you to clean our bathrooms. She made it to her car before the tears came. Lauren moved into a studio apartment in a building she would have walked past without seeing 8 months ago. Rent, $1,100. Furniture, an air mattress and 2 folding chairs from Target. She took a job doing data entry for $18 an hour, her Wharton MBA gathering dust while she input customer addresses into spreadsheets for an e-commerce company. On her 33rd birthday, Lauren ate dinner alone at a diner. No messages, no calls, no celebration. The waitress, maybe 60 years old, refilled her coffee with a kind smile. Celebrating something, honey? Not really, Lauren said quietly. The woman patted her shoulder and moved on. That small gesture, the first genuine kindness she'd experienced in months, broke something inside her. Bob Martinez had been the night janitor at Lauren's new building for 12 years. He noticed her because she reminded him of someone, the consultants who eliminated his position at Hartman Financial 15 years ago. Same haunted look, same isolation, same desperate energy of someone trying to outrun their own reflection. One evening, he found her sitting in the building's dim hallway outside her apartment, groceries scattered around her, quietly crying. "You okay, miss?" Lauren looked up, startled. "I'm fine. I just dropped everything." Bob knelt down, his knees creaking, and started gathering cans of soup. "You're Lauren, right? 3B. She nodded, wiping her eyes quickly. "I'm Bob. Been working here a long time. You look like you could use a hot meal instead of canned soup." Lauren tried to refuse, but something in Bob's gentle insistence reminded her she hadn't had a real conversation in months. His apartment was small, crowded, and filled with warmth she'd forgotten existed. His wife, Rosa, was already setting an extra place at the table. Their daughter, Sophia, was doing homework on the couch. "We weren't expecting company," Rosa said warmly, "but we always make enough." The meal was simple: rice, beans, roasted chicken, fresh tortillas. But as they ate, Lauren felt something crack open inside her chest. After dinner, while Rosa and Sophia cleaned up, Bob poured Lauren coffee. "You used to work in business, didn't you?" he asked gently. Lauren's hands tightened around her mug. "How did you know?" "I recognized the look. I used to have it too. 23 years at Hartman Financial, senior analyst, good money. Then consultants came in, said our whole division wasn't optimized, eliminated my position along with 47 others." Lauren felt her throat close. "I'm sorry. I was angry for a long time. Lost my house. My wife had to work 2 jobs. My kids saw me broken. How did you survive?" Bob smiled, and it was genuine. "I stopped measuring my worth by what I produced and started measuring it by who I was. Took me 5 years to learn that lesson." He looked at me directly. "You're hurting right now. I can see it. And I'm guessing it's not just because you lost your job." Lauren's voice came out barely above a whisper. "I destroyed people's lives. I called it optimization. I called it efficiency. But I destroyed them. I know," Bob said quietly. "I looked you up after you moved in. Saw the articles. Saw your name on lists of consultants who'd laid people off." Lauren froze. "Then why did you invite me to dinner?" "Because I remember what it feels like to be reduced to a number on someone's spreadsheet. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Not even the person who did it to me." He leaned forward. "Lauren, you want to know what I learned? People aren't inefficiencies. They're not overhead. They're not resources to be optimized. They're human beings with dignity that exists whether they're productive or not." Tears streamed down Lauren's face. "I don't know how to fix what I did." "You can't fix the past," Bob said gently, "but you can change who you become. I used to measure people by what they produced. Sales numbers, quarterly reports, ROI. Now I measure them by who they are. And you know what? The janitor who cleans floors has just as much worth as the CEO who sits in the corner office." Rosa came over and put her hand on Lauren's shoulder. "You're welcome here anytime, mija. No metrics, no measuring, just humanity." Lauren stayed until midnight, talking, really talking, for the first time in years, about her fear, her shame, her desperate loneliness, her realization that she'd spent her entire adult life chasing numbers while forgetting people. Bob listened without judgment. At the end of the night, he said something that would change everything. Efficiency without humanity is just cruelty with better math. 15 months after her termination from Apex, Lauren Sterling walked into a small HR consulting firm in Oakland, but she wasn't there for a job interview. She was there to start one. Lauren had spent the past year rebuilding, not her career, but herself. She'd volunteered at a workforce development center, helping laid-off workers navigate unemployment. She'd taken a certification course in compassionate organizational development. And she'd started a consultancy with a radically different mission. "Good morning," Lauren began, addressing the leadership team of Meridian Tech. "I'm here because you're considering layoffs to improve your margins. I'm here to show you a different path." The CEO, skeptical, leaned back. "We've seen your old work. Miss Sterling. You were known for aggressive cost-cutting." "I was," Lauren agreed. "And I was wrong." The room went silent. I used to believe efficiency meant eliminating people. I measured humans by their productivity metrics and discarded anyone who didn't meet arbitrary thresholds. I destroyed hundreds of careers, separated families, and called it business. She advanced her slide. But I've learned something crucial. Sustainable efficiency doesn't come from cutting people. It comes from investing in them. For the next hour, Lauren presented a restructuring plan she never would have considered in her apex days. Cross-training programs instead of eliminations. Gradual transitions with dignity instead of mass layoffs. Performance support instead of performance punishment. Your struggling employees aren't liabilities. They're people who need better tools, clearer expectations, or different roles. My firm helps you find those solutions before you resort to layoffs. The CFO frowned. And if that doesn't work, then we help people transition with real support, not a severance check and a handshake. We connect them with opportunities, provide meaningful job training, and give them time to land safely instead of pushing them off a cliff. "That sounds expensive," someone muttered. Lauren smiled, the kind of smile that came from experience, not arrogance. "It costs more upfront, but your employee retention improves by 40%, your reputation strengthens, and your remaining team actually trusts leadership. The ROI is there, it just takes longer than 90 days to measure." She paused. "I know because I'm measuring it now, and I'm measuring it in human terms, not just financial ones." Meridian signed with her firm 2 weeks later. Every Thursday evening, Lauren had dinner with Bob, Rosa, and Sophia. She'd watch them laugh together, tease each other, support each other through challenges both small and profound. She'd see Bob come home tired from his janitorial work and still greet his family with genuine warmth. One evening, Sophia asked Lauren about her job. "I help companies treat people like people," Lauren said simply. "That's it?" Sophia laughed. "Seems like that should be obvious." "You'd think so," Lauren replied. "But it's easy to forget when you're looking at spreadsheets instead of faces." On weekends, Lauren volunteered at the Workforce Center. One Saturday, a man in his 50s sat across from her, resume in hand, defeat in his eyes. 27 years at Barton Industries. Then some consultant told them I wasn't worth keeping. Lauren's chest tightened. She looked at his employment history. Barton Industries. 3 years ago. My project. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. He looked up, confused. "Why are you sorry? You didn't—" Then recognition dawned. "Wait, you're Lauren Sterling. You're the one who—" "Yes, I'm the one who recommended eliminating your position. I looked at your productivity metrics, decided you didn't meet my thresholds, and put your name on a list." He stared at her, processing. "I can't undo that," Lauren continued. "I can't give you those 3 years back, but I can help you now, really help you. I can advocate for you, connect you with companies that value experience over algorithms, and make sure you land somewhere that sees your worth." The man was silent for a long moment. Then, "Why should I trust you?" "Because I understand what I did wrong, and I'm spending the rest of my career trying to do better." He stayed. 6 weeks later, he sent her an email. He'd found a position at a company that valued his decades of knowledge. The subject line read, "Thank you for seeing me as human." Lauren's new office wasn't sleek or modern. It was cluttered with thank you cards, photos of people she'd helped find work, and a framed quote on her desk. "Efficiency without humanity is just cruelty with better math." Bob Martinez. She'd never make $400,000 a year again. She'd never be on a partner track. She'd never command boardrooms with the ruthless confidence she once wielded like a weapon. But every Thursday, she sat around a table with people who valued her for who she was, not what she produced. And every morning she woke up knowing that her work helped people keep their dignity, instead of stealing it. The math was different now. The metrics were harder to quantify. But for the first time in her life, Lauren measured her worth by something that actually mattered, the humanity she restored in others, and finally found in herself. Thank you for joining me for another story here on The Turning Point. Lauren's journey reminds us that people aren't problems to solve. They're human beings deserving of dignity. The deepest form of efficiency isn't eliminating everyone who doesn't hit your metrics. It's creating systems where people can thrive without constantly proving their worth through productivity. Have you ever looked at someone, maybe a coworker, an employee, or even yourself, and reduced them to what they produce instead of who they are? Maybe you didn't fire them, but did you dismiss their value because they weren't performing? Did you measure their worth in output instead of humanity? What would happen if you stopped asking, "What can this person do for me?" and started asking, "What does this person need to succeed?" What if the next time someone struggles at work, instead of immediately putting them on a performance improvement plan, you asked, "How can I support you?" Maybe you're Lauren, measuring people by spreadsheets and wondering why you feel so isolated. Or maybe you're Bob, someone who's been reduced to a number and discarded, trying to rebuild your sense of worth after someone decided you weren't efficient enough. But here's what I want you to consider. What if the most productive thing you could do isn't cutting costs, but investing in people? What if your obsession with quarterly returns is actually destroying the very culture that makes great work possible? If Lauren's story moved you, I'd love to hear about a time when you realized your efficiency metrics were actually measuring the wrong things. Or maybe you're learning right now how to lead without dehumanizing, how to optimize without destroying. Leave a comment below and share your story. Your turning point might be exactly what another exhausted manager or laid off worker needs to hear today. And if you're ready for another powerful transformation story about discovering that the system you built to measure others was actually destroying you, check out our next video. We drop a new story every week that proves worth isn't found in ROI calculations and productivity dashboards, it's found in dignity, compassion, and seeing people as humans first. Don't forget to like this video if Lauren's journey made you reconsider what efficiency really means. And subscribe for more stories where ruthless optimization meets human reality. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a turning point that could transform how you measure success. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is close the spreadsheet and see the person. I'll see you in the next video.